Hi, this is Greg Levine, and this is the party line for December 23rd, 2011. Pardon the less than optimal lighting and camera angle, but I've got a perhaps less than optimal poem that's going to make you forget all about that. Sort of goes something like this. Jasko, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission chairman, had a very shiny nose, and after he helped fast-track the approval of a new but still dangerous reactor design, you might even say it glows. Yeah, okay, that sucked, but it didn't suck as much as the decision just yesterday, the sort of pre-Friday news dump, because really, you know, who wants to work on Christmas Eve, so we can dump a day early. That the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, no real surprise here, has agreed to certify the Westinghouse AP1000 reactor design. Now, you're going to read a lot of stories in the establishment, legacy, nuclear-friendly media out there that are really fluffy about this reactor design, praising how it's going to, you know, not only usher in a nuclear renaissance, but it could have forestalled, prevented, a Fukushima-like disaster if only they'd had AP1000s in Japan. The AP1000, as we've discussed, is a tweak of an older design, pressurized water reactor that theoretically will allow gravity and convection to cool the reactor core should they lose all AC power and not be able to pump water through the reactor, which is, how we cool all of our silly boiling water, pressurized water reactors here in the United States and across Japan too, and many other parts of the world. Well, for 72 hours, for 3 days, they say that should they lose all power, the plant will stay cool enough, the core will stay cool enough so that it won't melt down. After 72 hours, something about like minimal operator intervention or something will still keep the plant sustainable. We don't really know what that means. A couple of points, of course. One is that that assumes that all the systems otherwise stay intact, and it's just a question of keeping the core cool enough and the coolant in the core cool enough. And secondly, it assumes that after 72 hours everything will be hunky-dory again and you can get the power up and running. Something that I don't think 72 hours would have saved their bacon in Japan, honestly. And I also will contend that the the cooling systems themselves, did not remain watertight after the earthquake. And the tsunami did knock out the power, but even if the power had continued, they would have had major problems to contend with. That's what I contend. But the Nuclear Regulatory Commission is all too happy to bring forth this new age of reactor construction in the United States. It's been a generation since we've built new reactors, and we are now looking at the possibility of 4 in Georgia and South Carolina, thanks to this end of the year, end of the week, end of our news cycle approval. But that's not the most disturbing part of this story. The more disturbing part of the story is that along with the certification of the design came the approval on a 4-to-1 vote this time, the Commissioner Yatsko dissenting, a 4-to-1 vote that they were going to fast-track this approval, in that there's usually a short pause after design approval before you move on to construction, and then during construction there used to be a situation where you had to build certain parts, get approval, get certified, then be allowed to build safety components, get certified again, and then eventually get an operating license when the plant was all done and you could show that you could operate it safely. They're going to collapse that whole process. You're going to be able to get construction and operating licenses at the same time. And they can go ahead pretty much on that process right away. So theoretically, major shortening of time and a major cutting of corners when it comes to the sort of theoretical suspenders and belt safety procedures and regulatory process that we had in the United States for the Nuclear Commission. So just to stress this, just to underline this, in the wake of what is probably the world's greatest nuclear disaster in 2011, Fukushima Daiichi plant, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the United States of America, has moved to make it easier to build, certify, and operate nuclear power plants. Right? Countries like Germany are phasing out their dependence on nuclear power. The United States has decided we need to make it easier for nuclear power plants to get going, to build more, to increase our dependence on this. Just stunning, right? Stunning in the wake of Fukushima this year. And this news, honestly, and you're going to hate that I'm just dropping this on you at the end here, but I don't want to go on too long. This comes in the wake of a report that's been released in the International Journal of Health Sciences that deaths in the United States post-Fukushima spiked, with 14,000 estimated excess deaths as a result of Japan's nuclear fallout in the United States. You got that? Since March, actually deaths were down prior to this in the United States. It was going to be like a low death year. And after that, they spiked. They went up 14,000 above what the predicted trend was going to be. You're not going to see this a lot of places because not like people killed over with like radiation lesions on their skin, but you saw a very similar phenomenon happen after Chernobyl, where deaths go up. They're mostly infant deaths, but it's directly correlates with the event, with the nuclear event, and that is just Merry Christmas, right? Merry effing Christmas. Thank you, Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Thank you, embattled Commissioner Greg Yatsko. Even though you did oppose the fast tracking, you did work for unanimous consent of the new design. And this is the kind of thing that makes it hard for us to rally around you. You want to be the champion of nuclear safety? Then be the champion of safety, real safety, and not this sort of like weak protest, kind of like, oh, if only they'd listen to me safety. Use your leverage. You got leverage. You don't want them to go ahead and do these things in an unsafe, slapdash, too fast manner, then withhold the approval in the first place. That's your leverage. It's not okay to, on the one hand, say you'd rather they adopted the post-Fukushima Task Force report rules, and on the other hand, hand them a new design that they can now go ahead with. A new, cheaper, possibly just as dangerous design. Not when we've seen what's happened this year. And for everybody out there, in spite of all this, may you have a very happy holiday season. And if I don't see you before, Happy New Year as well. Happy New Year should be the party line. Let's hope. Thanks.